Hi, everybody, and welcome to Perspectives.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zoe, and this is Scott, and this is our guest, Maya McClean. Welcome, Maya.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming today. Maya is an Australian singer and songwriter. She's also a spiritual life coach, and she also worked with Prince for over 13 years performing with Prince. So, yeah, it's really exciting to have you on today. How are you?
I'm good. Hanging out in Los Angeles right now, and we've got some beautiful weather that just came through. It's been cloudy the last few days, but we've got some nice sun this afternoon, which is nice.
Yeah. Are you originally from, whereabouts in Australia are you from originally?
I was born in Sydney,
Mm-hmm.
and I did move around a little bit in Australia. I lived in Darwin as well.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that's out there that has heard of the Northern Territory or Ayers Rock, I used to live up there too, and then also Byron Bay. That's where most of my family is, in Byron.
Love Byron Bay. It's such a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
So Maya, did you always know that you wanted to get into singing and dancing?
Yep, I was influenced by Johnny Farnham, for all the Australian fans out there. He's an awesome kind of singer from the 80s that had a really high range. So he could sing in the register of like a female. So I used to listen to him first and foremost. And then, there was a lot of American artists that I looked up to musically, for my singing and then dancing was Michael Jackson. He was my inspiration. All the MJ fans out there. We love you, Michael. Still a groovy after all these years. Just kidding.
Man, what was growing up like in Australia?
In Australia, growing up in Australia was pretty down to earth. I mean, I feel like Australians are pretty kind of relaxed type of energy, and we kind of just go with the flow a little bit. He's making fun of me. But yeah, I loved growing up in Australia. I loved being up in Darwin. We lived up there. That's like a deserty area. And my mum used to spend a lot of time with the Aboriginals. So we used to spend a lot of time with them, and they used to make us like a thing called damper, which is kind of like bread and water, like maybe like, what do you call it? Like kind of roti bread from the Caribbean, or naan bread, Indian bread, kind of that type of vibe, like cooking it on hot stoves and stuff like that. So we got a lot into the culture in Australia, and my mum looked after a lot of homeless people, and she was a huge humanitarian and did like a walk from Brisbane to Bairnsdale, from the top of Australia all the way down to the bottom, which me and my sister joined her on, and it was awesome. We got a lot of that type of education, and just seeing at how the government is kind of not really looking after the homeless people. I mean, in a lot of countries, that's what it's like. So all of the underprivileged people don't get taken care of, and there's not a lot of systems in place. So yeah, I grew up with that, and we actually had homeless kids that lived with us a lot. We had 7 homeless kids when we were, I think me and my sister were about 7, and Mum discovered that there were homeless kids, and we had like 7, like around 14, 15-year-olds in our house. And we only had a 1-bedroom at the time, too, living on a mountaintop.
Wow.
Yeah, so a definite journey around the humanitarian lifestyle. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So when did you move to America, and what made you move to America?
My dream was to always dance with Michael Jackson. So my mum was always a huge support. We were living in a remote area first, and then we moved to Sydney. That was like our first step closer, and we were like, we want to meet Michael Jackson. Mum goes, well, you better move to where he's going to be then. I said, he's never going to come up here. And she goes, well, I guess you better move to Sydney then. And we said, okay. Mum was just like a yes for everything. And so she just said we could move down there. So we moved down there with a cousin of ours, and started performing and going to like performing art school and dancing. And then when Michael Jackson came for his tour, we ended up meeting him. So my dream was to dance with him, and I was only 16 at the time, so I was kind of still too young. And then I'm like, okay, next move is to move to America to dance with Michael Jackson. And we got into a African-American dance company called Lula Washington out here in LA. It was like mine and my sister's first kind of professional dance gig out over here. And then it wasn't fully aligned with what I wanted, and I could tell. And because I wanted to do more of the commercial dancing, and this was more of like modern and ballet, which is an awesome foundation for us as dancers, and learning all the African type of styles of dance. And then one day we were headed to rehearsals or to training, and we were just like, this doesn't feel right. This isn't the right direction for us. And we called the owner of the company and said, we're not going to come back. I was shocked because she just said, okay. She had no attachments to it at all. I'm like, that's nice, cool, next. And so then from that opening, you know how you close one door and another door opens. Mm-hmm. And my sister got our first dance audition, and it was for Prince. So we auditioned for that. I was ignorant. I didn't know anything. We had Fatima, which is a huge choreographer over here. She choreographed the Michael Jackson, what do you call it? Remember the Time music video? Mm. That one with all that type of stuff, those type of moves. She did that one. So she's like a huge choreographer over here. She was the choreographer in the Prince audition. I didn't know it was his song playing. Like, I didn't know anything. I'm like, oh, she's probably just I didn't think it was Fatima. I thought it was like a stand-in choreographer just leading the auditions or whatever. And it was her, and then it was Prince's song. We had no idea. And out of that audition, we got booked for that music video. It was for one of Prince's music videos. And then from there, the story was that he saw us on the audition tape, me and my sister, or one here, and then the camera panned over, and then my sister was there. And then Prince saw one and then saw the other and said, hey,
he thought that pills were kicking in. He goes, oh no, there's really two of them.
Yeah, she's your twin sister as well, isn't she, for those of you? Yeah. Identical?
No, we're non-identical, but we look pretty close.
Okay, yeah.
So that was the story that I heard, but then at Prince's memorial, I bumped into a director that he used to work with and that we worked with in the past. And she told me a different story. She said that Prince was like, I don't want to work with twins anymore. I've done that, because he had the diamonds and pearls things, even though they weren't real twins, but they were looking like, they were kind of like, it was like they were twins. And apparently Fatima and the director who was going to be directing the music video, they fought for me and Mandy to work with him. That's what she told. That was the story she told me. So I've heard two stories of what happened around us getting hired to work for Prince.
Let me ask you, like, when you're going after a career, which is, it's such a hard thing to make it in that field. I mean, it's just so hard. And then you have a twin sister. Just being a twin, it's so different. The experience growing up as a girl, right, with a twin sister is different than, right? But when you're in the same field, like doing the same, like, I mean, what if he said, I want one of them? Like, there's so many possibilities that because you're twins and you're doing everything together. Can you talk about just what it's like growing up as a twin and going into this kind of business, entertainment business?
So yeah, growing up as a twin in entertainment was just a bit difficult, because, I mean, even with having a twin, people are comparing you straight away. Like, they compare you to each other. And so what we did, and we kind of discovered that this maybe 5 years ago or 4 years ago, that it's a survival mechanism. So we're not separated or one's held up better than the other, that we decided to keep everything as similar as possible. Like, some people, twins, just go and do different things, or they're total opposites or whatever. We decided, I mean, we already loved everything similar anyway. So it's not like that was a hard thing to do, but yeah, me and my sister it was like we had to make sure that we did everything the same, so people wouldn't separate us. So we wouldn't step out of our own individual kind of like comfort zones to shine brighter than the other person. But it was also looking after each other's feelings too. So one one person wouldn't feel, less than or whatever. So yeah, it was.
That was a conscious decision you guys made together?
It wasn't conscious, but it became conscious maybe 4 years ago. And it was actually when we were doing an interview for this TV show or something over here. And as we were doing the interviews, like it ended up coming out. Like I think that someone was actually asking us questions, and we were sitting next to each other and going, "Oh yeah, we must have, you know, we don't do much different because to survive as twins, without someone being better than the other, because everyone did that. He's the good twin, he's the bad twin, he's the tall one, he's the ugly one, he's the pretty one. That's what the world did to us, you know. So we had to, you know, fully, you know, do that to survive.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys mainly worked together as twins. Is that what you did in the early stages of your career? Yep. And do you still work together? Or?
We did everything together, but we're not doing everything together anymore.
Okay. Yeah. Was that hard? Having to
have a twin separation.
Mm.
Yeah. It was like it was kind of like a breakup from a husband or wife for people that aren't twins that wouldn't know, or breaking up from like a relationship. Yeah, it was like kind of like that, kind of a separation, and like this kind of rediscovery on who you are outside of having a twin. And that's kind of what led me to my spiritual path too, because I'd always made decisions based on what do me and Nandy want to do, not what does Maya want, and then what does Nandy want, and then we'll come together, see if it's the same. It was let's create something out here that we both want, and then that's it. So then there was a disconnect from my own purpose and my own passion. And then once I discovered that, then everything just went whoosh. The universe, just everything just took us in our own kind of individual path, you know.
So there was a need. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Scott. I was just going to say, is that when you feel that your spiritual journey began, when you guys made that decision to sort of go your separate way?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
I was kind of in a practice. I was in a practice of discovering pretty much my authentic self. And when I started that, then it kind of disrupted my whole life. And that took me on my journey around just being able to connect to the whole universe. I didn't feel spiritually conscious. I wasn't connected to anything beyond the physical realm. And it took me to like just a deeper level of truth and connection to all that is, and God and spirituality and my purpose, which was the most exciting thing. I'm like, what is this reality? This is so good. And so that's why now, because I kind of had to give myself I had to re-examine myself and connect to myself in a totally different way that connected me with more of who I am and everything that I am inside of the reality of Earth and the universe, and that we're all connected and we're all one. And it's like, oh, this is so good. I can't go back now once you open Pandora's box. It's like, yep, this is it. I'm on the journey now. And so now that's what I do with my coaching program. I love being able to help people shift out of the reality that they were in, which is I call the matrix reality, and help bring them into, you know, the collective
matrix. Now you're adding matrix to this whole terminology. Now that's okay. Okay. Let me just ask you though about your personal individuality between you and Nandy, right? Like, because you both that's important for each person, each human being, to kind of really, you know, find that, right? But at this, like, you're already adult women now, right? And you're still like really this close team, professionally and everything, right? So that separation it's going to be traumatic on some level, but you guys did it in a real respectful manner. You guys are in a great loving place, supporting each other in your journeys, but also respecting that each one of you is going, you know, maybe your own direction, whatever that is. But May is going to live May's truth, and Nandy's going to live Nandy's truth, and there's still just a great cohesive bond. But it's important to find your individuality.
Yeah, definitely. I think we did it in a really, even though it was painful, we did it in the most beautiful way that you can do it when you're going through a painful breakup. It was our twin divorce.
Yeah, that's right.
But I have met other twins, and that have gone through this process or their own version of it. Like some twins that work together, and then they broke up their whole company and then had to move, like one moved to Europe and one's in Australia, one stayed in America. Like they actually had to move to different continents to get away from themselves within each other, you know, and they don't talk, you know, a lot of them. I've spoken to a couple of sets of twins where they had their breakups, their twin breakups, and they're not talking to each other. So I was able to help guide them because of how our journey was. And we had times that we weren't talking, but it wasn't based on I hate you or piss off or whatever, or I don't like you anymore, I don't love you anymore. It was more we just need the space. And there was times where I knew that I needed to take my space, and I know that there was times where she needed her space, that I deliberately gave her space, so I stopped impeding in her reality so she could, you know, rediscover who she is without me too. You know, we've got twin dynamics that get in each other's way, and, you know, I definitely got in her way and she got in my way in different ways, and then we supported each other in different ways too. So it's just distinguishing where we fit and what doesn't work, and for what we want our lives to be. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a different choice, because we loved doing everything together. That was our life. But now we've got the balance, and if we choose to come back together and create stuff like we did, you know, we worked on an India RE music video in January, 2 music videos together. She directed and I produced, and, you know, we were fine.
Award-winning videos too, by the way.
What?
Award-winning videos, by the way, right?
The one that Ananda directed before that I didn't work on is award-winning, yeah. The other 2 are still in post-production, so they're not even released yet.
Potential award-winning.
Yeah.
So Maya, you mentioned before when you and Nandi sort of did separate and go your own ways that you became really clear on your purpose. Would you share with us a little bit more around what you discovered your purpose to be?
Mm-hmm. Well, how it started was I just started going inwards and listening to the inner call. And I started spending a lot of time alone. Of course, when you're a twin, you've always got someone to talk to, and just in each other's space, which we loved. And, you know, for me to be able to just discover and hear myself didn't work. So I started just going inward and just listening to the inner call. And then as soon as I'd hear it or feel it, I'll take an action on it. And I stopped taking actions that weren't coming from internal, that if it was coming from what my brain was creating, then I could distinguish the difference. I was like, okay, that's my survival mechanism. Do I want to do that? My brain wants to potentially survive because it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense in here. So I started just going inward, and I actually got let go from a production job that I was working on, because the universe always just lets things dissolve that aren't meant to be there anyway. It was the best job that I could have had as a full-time job, which I've never did before. And I just kind of slid into it because I was in production at the time. And my boss was like the dad that I always wanted, kind of thing. I love my dad too, but he was this guy was it was kind of like a male version of my mum. And, you know, awesome environment, and he ended up letting me go. Also, I actually supported him in letting me go because he didn't want to let me go. He loved me like a daughter, and we had our little cry, but then after that I had like 2 weeks to really discover what was next for me. And my first inner call was to go up to the pipeline protest up in North Dakota. I don't know if anyone has heard of that, but there was pipeline protests with American Indians up in North Dakota because the oil companies were coming in. So the first thing I heard was go up there and document, because I got an invitation to do it, and I started, yep, straight away. So I went up there and was up there for a couple of weeks on the land, and just experiencing, you know, being back in nature and back in the earth and connecting, you know, to spirit. And, you know, there was beautiful horses up there, and, you know, speaking with the American Indians and interviewing all the little kids. It was really cute. And then just being able to be kind of in the protest, witnessing both sides, the American Indians and all the, you know, the cops that were there, and just experiencing the peace of, like, there's no fight. there's no war. There's no one's right or wrong. I'm just witnessing the humanity on both sides. So it was really interesting. So that was the first call, and then my hands started tingling. I started feeling energy coming out of my hands, and I'm like, okay, my hands need to be on people. They need to heal people, and I'm like, I guess I need a massage table. I looked online, found a a massage table online. It's just action after action. When you hear the call, no thought in the way, just acting on what my intuition's telling me. And so I went and went to pick up this massage table. I started connecting with the girl that was giving it to me. She did eyelashes. She was using the table to implement eyelashes here in LA. Everyone's wearing the fake eyelashes. So she never even got a massage before, or even knew anything about it, and didn't use the table for that. But I'm buying it from her, and then I shared my story with her. We just started hanging out, and she goes, I've never had a massage. I'd love to have a massage. I said, really? And so she was my first client. Hilarious. So she came over and hopped on her own table that she just sold me. And then I'm in LA, by the way. I've got, what do you call it? I've got Instagram Live running. So then after that, this girl was so disconnected from her own source. After we did the massage, I sat her down and we started talking, and she was in a vulnerable state, and she's like, I don't even know what I'm doing with my life. I don't even like my friends. I don't even know why I'm even hanging out with them. I'm drinking wine every night. Like, she was pretty much started purging all of her misalignments with things that don't even resonate with her anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I need to start working with people. And I played a couple of my songs, and she just starts falling and releasing and crying, blah, 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 blah. So that kind of led me into, okay, I'm working with my hands too, and then helping, through conversation and music. So they were the three kind of realms that were calling to me at the time, inside of my purpose, to be able to be of service to help people shift and transform into their higher frequencies. And it's the best job in the world.
Prolific events in your life, spiritual events that led you that were on your path, but led you to where you are right now. Where does that one day in New York when you were on the roof, where does that come into the equation of the, like the profound awakening type moments that change your life?
You reached out to me and you said, I want to interview, and I said, okay. Pretty much it. It was a yes, and I was on the East Coast.
It was something else, yes. Right.
I said, sounds good to me. You were really nice and friendly, and I loved the way that you questioned my experiences, because it's really comical, and it gives that different perspective. We're on the perspective show. It was funny that I was still, when you start listening to yourself, sometimes you can go, oh, is this really what should I be doing this? And you kind of test the waters as you're practicing to build your mastery of listening to what is true for you. And when I was in New York before we did On the Roof, I connected with a producer, a friend of mine, and I was in the studio those 2 nights before, and I was in there songwriting with him and another songwriter, and it didn't feel right. And it was really hard because this guy's like awesome, him and his partner, like I just connected with them. We're just like the way he builds his business, and the vitality and the energy that he had was the similar vibration. So I was drawn to them as people, but the inside of doing the songwriting for their company didn't feel right. And so I was like, I'd sat down, I was in Manhattan, like up the road from where you were. This is a funny story. And we met for lunch afterwards, and I'm like, this isn't for me. It was hard to say no to him too, because I love him and he's so talented. That's the other thing. Your ego can get in the way of things that your soul wants because it looks good too. Now I'm connected to him as a being. I could just jam and vibe with him all night. We had a whole jam session and just play around. And then, you know, the artist that he worked with sounds really good. Rihanna, Chris Brown, like, you know, big people that I could have written music for. And I'm like, that's not for me still. Even though there could have been opportunities for my songwriting, that is still not the path, and I can feel it. So I was just like, yeah, this isn't for me. And it's like, okay, well, it's good hanging out. Good hanging out too. And then I just kind of danced out of the restaurant, and then I head to where you were, Scotty, to head up to the roof. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna wear. I was deliberately not planning anything. I don't know what I'm wearing on this thing. and I'm kind of floating around. I didn't even know where you were. And I'm just looking at the map quest, and I'm just on foot walking around Manhattan trying to find you. And then there was this little market down there down near Times Square. And I walked in, really not like touristy, yucky stuff that you don't want to buy. And I walked in the back, and there was like a little Nepalese store that had clothing from Nepal. I'm like, oh, this is some nice, like, authentic wools and nice materials that are a little bit chilly. And I found something in there to wear, that the thing with the hood, that little thing that we took photos in. And I just picked that up on the way, and then went up, and I had a friend drop off my guitar because I didn't even have it with me. Hadn't planned any of this day. I was like, oh, I've got an interview. Would you mind bringing my guitar? And I had to get my makeup. I didn't plan anything. And then everything just kind of got dropped off. My friend just hung out, and he enjoyed himself, Todd.
I love Todd.
I showed up, just did my hand makeup there, got the outfit on the fly on the way up, and then we did the interview.
You know, when you were talking though, like you were like using this terminology that I really thought, I mean, I didn't buy it. You know what I mean? Like because I'm not just a skeptic. I'm just like a pessimist. You know, like I've seen so many people be able to talk the talk, you know, and be totally full of shit. You know, so when you're dropping this, I get these downloads. I listen to my inner voice, and my vortex tells me and guides me, and I'm just like, what am I on the Starship Enterprise here? You know, and I'm not. You know, but then getting to watch you live, like who you are, and be you. This is how you live. You did stuff that I would think is bizarre. It's not.
Yeah.
But at the time, I hadn't seen it. You know, you planted a lot of those seeds for me to see that, to make me available to see that this conscious way of living has a whole lot to offer. But I got a whole lot of work to do, man. There's a lot of blockages. Like there's still like, you know, layers. There's an Empire State Building inside me of blocks, you know, to say the least. But despite all of that, you can't deny when you see somebody living it and honoring it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bringing you to meet Tao was like one of my favorite days, right? Because, wow, what an experience, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, just a lot of great things, and that's why I have so much respect for you. But when you come from the world of Prince and that kind of music, compared to the music that you do, there's a dramatic difference in it. His serves his purpose, but can you talk about the purpose that your music serves for you, and what your message is and your legacy?
The vibration and the sound of the music is really intimate. It's got it kind of hits your heart chakra. It helps you align to the present moment. And I'm speaking on how I experience it when I'm playing, as well as what people that have listening have told me. Like they were like, I don't feel like I've felt like myself or this present in so long. Like that was someone that shared when I did an event in Australia. Mm-hmm. And I'm like I discover what the music does every time I play for people. You know, in person, obviously, is better because it's a true vibrational state. But yeah, it's definitely healing. It's healing music. It's vibrational. It's heart chakra opening. It helps you release blockages from any limiting thoughts or any dissonance in the body. Definitely. But every person has their own experience because everyone goes through something different, you know. But yeah, a lot of people cry when they hear the music. It breaks down walls, you know. It opens people up to possibility in relationships, people don't feel like they can love again, or or really move into that heart chakra, then it helps with that too. It depends on the song and the lyrical content. People can relate to it or relate it to their own world too. And then there's the tone and the vibration.
Did you ever find a word to rhyme with Latina?
That was just for that event, all right? We've got some private jokes of our journeys in New York. Custom making song for us to suit an event, and now am I going to make this fit on the fly?
You know what? Nobody does it on the fly like you. I mean, because it's just so fluid. Because you can go with the flow.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was a practice of being able to just trust myself and be present in the moment. Like the first event that I did in New York, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't even, when I wrote what the event was for the promoters, I just created a random word, but I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't even know how to write about it because it hadn't even shown up yet.
Yeah.
And then that's when my light events, Live Your Highest Truth events started, coming out, because it was music and conversation and interaction with the audience and people relating to a song, and then me being able to connect that with them and then help them pull out limitations in their own belief systems within, the live event, and then people interacting with each other, kind of like a musical forum. But yeah, I didn't know that it was going to turn into that until I just showed up with my guitar and a microphone. I didn't plan a set list. There was nothing planned, but it was on purpose, unplanned on purpose, because that's when your biggest creative downloads. It's not a formula. Like a lot of people in the music industry, like they're writing song formats and formulas. From now on, I'm just going to write what comes through. I'm so done with all those structures. I have them, but I don't need them. I just want to do what's authentic to me. And if that word doesn't rhyme with that, I don't care. Or if I'm putting the same word at the end of a phrase in the same verse.
Yeah, right.
How people write and it's like not correct grammar or it doesn't word right. I'm like, I don't care about that. Like, does that matter, or did humans make that up? So my commitment was to just go with the flow and just see what would come through without any attachment. And it brought a lot of peace. We get in our heads so much in life, and being able to just listen and surrender. Like I have a distinction in my program called no thought.
Right.
No thought.
Is this in your coaching program?
My coaching program.
Yeah.
Called my thought. I'm like, get out of your head now.
Is that something that you teach your clients, is how to tune into their intuition and really go with the flow and surrender rather than control things?
Yeah, that's a huge piece of it. Now, it's not that they have to live that way like I was doing, and I still do to a certain extent. But it's just a beautiful practice to detach from all of the attachments of life and how you think things are meant to be. Because the universe has so many more magical surprises than your brain could even ever fathom. So if you want to experience that, then this is just a choice. There's nothing right or wrong about both, but that is one of the practices that I teach in the program.
Is there a particular type of client that you work with, Maya, with your coaching?
I do one-off sessions that for people that don't that the program wouldn't be a fit for. And I work in any scenario with anyone. If it's someone, whether they're having relationship issues, family issues, all of the same principles apply to any scenario. It's literally like one principle, which is follow your intuition, and then I help you train on that, because everything that isn't serving you will naturally just dissolve with no planning, no thought. Like when I had a whole music career and I had a whole life before, I just surrendered into what was meant for me. I was trying to plan myself out of my old life. That did not even happen. Me and my manager, we put a whole schedule together. Everything just dissolved. Like there was minimal effort and minimal pain in the transition, because breaking out of your old realities, it can be painful. But when you just let it surrender and you just keep acting on your intuition, everything that you want comes to you like easy.
So how do you know when it's your intuition? Like for you personally, how do you know you're listening to your intuition and not your mind? Or how would you distinguish between the two?
I have a couple of different methods that I help my clients distinguish. Mm-hmm. The main one, which is I think is a brilliant one, is, and during my spiritual growth, I feel like there's a higher level of truth than this method, but this is the best way to start because it helps you get out of your mind. Mm-hmm. When you feel a blast of passion, excitement, fire inside this area right here, which is your solar plexus, that's your inner power, your power chakra, and where all your action comes from. When you feel that blast, like what am I going to do with my life? It's all about doing that, not being. If you're going to be doing something, then you better listen to your solar plexus chakra. That's going to blast you into where you're supposed to be, not what this is telling you to do. So how I teach my clients is listen to that feeling of excitement, passion, whatever is there, and take an action on that as soon as you feel it.
Yep.
Means you're going to have to break down your plans. So the best thing to do is minimize your plans as much as possible. Some people don't fully trust this because they're so used to the structures, but depending on who I'm working with, I can feel where they are. I can feel how much they can trust. I'm not going to push them off the cliff and have them drowning, because usually your excitement is going to take you into an area where it doesn't feel like it looks realistic for your lifestyle. But it's one step at a time.
I think you said there was a second technique that you were going to tell us about as well.
So when you're really still, I can hear the difference between my mind and kind of like my conscious mind or my higher self. It's that listening is it's kind of like a feeling. This one's kind of hard to explain, but it's kind of like people call it the quiet voice. There's the loud voice, which is the mind, and then there's the little quiet voice that's up here. It's not as much as a body vibrational feeling. Listening to and feeling that vibration is definitely a body tell instigator to listen to be able to hear intuition. This one's more silent, more still. So when you're really still, when you hear, this is, I call this one hearing the call, and this one's kind of feeling the call. Mm. So when I hear it, it had the feeling of that intuition is 100% peaceful. It has the feeling of expansion, and there's no concern or worry or like nothing that can hinder the action that's coming through. So that's kind of how I distinguish it. That one's a little bit more quiet. I operate on this one a lot more, but when I'm in more of a still place, I feel like the intuition that I feel more around here, which is the consciousness of the heart, the root, the crown chakra coming through. That's kind of where I feel it. Mm-hmm. That feels like a bigger picture. Like I can feel it coming through, and sometimes I feel it coming down. I feel it coming down the back. Like it's in the back of my mind, not kind of in the front. It's weird, even though you're what do you call it?
Third eye.
The third eye.
But I can feel it kind of coming in the back, and I know which one it is. I can distinguish the difference. So they're kind of like the two ways that I teach on how to operate. This one isn't as much day to day, but it's more like when something hits me, I can feel it. Like today, I had a download. My emotions are a tell to people. Say don't listen to your emotions, like your human body emotions, which I call I made the distinction. This is another distinction that I discovered was there's your instinct, and then there's your intuition. So your instinct is more around the emotional body, it's like fight or flight. There's the reaction, you get triggered, you're emotional, you're crying. I still believe there's truth in there. It's just not to act on it straight away, because your mind download or your higher self download will give you the truth out of the emotion, but it doesn't mean that the immediate emotion is the one. Like when people get their period, I believe I made it up. Everything I'm saying I made up. You can choose to believe it or not. It's all made up out of my own experiences.
This is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
This is the reason I say it's made up is because we can't attach to anything in life. Everything's real and nothing's real. That's the perspective I'm speaking from. When women get their period, and women, all you women out there, that there's that stigma of we're just emotional wrecks and we can't control our emotions. Inside the feminine reality of our reality, the masculine feels like it's always more powerful because we're so heavy in the physical realm. And the masculine energy builds, it builds companies, it builds businesses, it builds structures, it's all logical. So then in the physical realm, it looks good. And then in the metaphysical or the feminine realm, and you can be male and female and male and have feminine, that doesn't really matter. It's not about the sex, it's about the energy. That's more of the structure, the masculine, and the metaphysical with the feminine is more feminine. And then we don't fully honor that as much. So what I say to women, especially my female client, when you get your period, the emotions and things that are coming up for you is actually not saying that you have to act on it or it's exactly what is coming through at that level, but listen to the emotions, listen to your period. Oh my God. Listen to your period.
Breaking news, folks. This is breaking news.
Yeah. Listen. If you listen to your period.
Do you get that from your fourth eye back there? Is that what you get that from the? Yeah,
this is your fourth eye. This is your third. This is your fourth eye.
Fourth eye told me to listen to your period. Okay.
So look at it like this. This is the I'm getting to a point. So we've got the physical realm that can sometimes become really stagnant inside of the structure that it's been built in. The reality of the physical realm, it's built and then it can get stuck. When it's time for new realities to come through, that's when the feminine comes in, because it loosens everything up and then things just demolish and then there's time for a new creation. So when you get your period, this is why I feel like the woman, the female in the household, in families, marriages and couples, when the woman gets her period, it's time for a shift. It's like the month of dissonance and structure that's been built around the family dynamic. The woman is the one that's bringing in the change or the transformation that's due. Because, and the things that are coming through for her is what is going to shift and evolve the family outside instead of it being stagnant, Now, we do have full-on emotional triggers, and you can argue this point that when you're listening from a higher perspective and you sit with the emotions, not just spill it out on everyone, but actually reflect on it, then you can feel what is it for you and what is it that's going to actually evolve the family to a higher consciousness and moving forward in that way within the family dynamic. And of course, one-on-one. So I think there's a definite power to us bleeding and purging, because we're purging the old. We didn't give birth to a baby, but we're giving birth to a new reality for ourselves and the communities around us. So,
can I join this conversation as a male who's never experienced an actual period?
Yeah.
I just want to ask you a question about this, because to understand clear, honestly, do you think that you're true, like when you're going through something as emotional as that, you're so raw that you're, again, it's really not, I don't think as intuitive as it would be instinctive to just, because you're so emotional, right? Mm-hmm. Is that your truth on how you decide to handle that? When you're over emotional, or that your emotional state is kind of altered in some way, how you're going to deliver your message and your information. Like that's going to be who you kind of are, because that is going to, you know, affect other people, right? Your emotional being. So is that kind of, somebody posted something today I saw, it was really, women are like tea bags. You never know how really strong they are until they get in the hot water.
Exact.
Now, like when the shit hits the fan, you find out really in a quick one. And a lot of times, you know, coming from not the male, but I will say the male, but also the masculine perspective, that gets lost on us. The strength and the power that you can be real graceful in. Maybe we don't see it as so powerful yet. If you can take a step back and kind of observe, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the stigma of the tears are weak, you know. That's come from centuries in our society, but inside the vulnerability, that's when the strength is. Like being able to hold strong into something, you're never going to actually shift, you're going to stay the same. But when you allow yourself to actually break down and listen to what, and I'm not saying be a crybaby and don't get anything done. I'm a full-on action taker and builder, but take that time when it's time, because it's time to break things down. Like I'm ovulating right now, just letting everyone know.
There's a lot of breaking news here tonight, folks. Just wow.
And for me, even the ovulation, I get intel. Like, so I'm getting personal intel for myself this morning. When I woke up and I could feel it, I'm like, okay, like I'm listening to my body and it's telling me things. So even my ovulation is telling me things. And then when I'm PMSing, I get told things.
But don't you think that's because you're so raw that you're, you know, like you no?
Well, the more and more you connect to your intuition and start listening to your body, whether it's your higher self or even your vibrational state, then you get, it tells you everything. It's like people eating conscious. What's good to eat? Should you be a vegan? Should you be a vegetarian? Your body can even tell you, even in the moment, whether you should be eating that thing or not. That's how fine-tuned we can get as beings, like we're our own information source. Like imagine if humans were just walking around like little aliens. I've got a vision of the future of us all just all happy and glowing, and we're just listening to ourselves. We don't even need to learn anything or listen to social media. Let me just tap in. Okay, I got the download. You can be connecting to the wisdom of the universe. So fun. Like that's what we're capable of, and everyone's got their gifts. You know, I've got clients that are tapping into their abilities that they've suppressed for like 20 years.
Oh yeah.
And now they're just ready for it because it's the time. It's the time to awaken right now. You know, we're moving into that awakened state.
Let me ask you both a question here, like that you both can answer. Is how much of when you're working with a client, a client comes to you with their vulnerability, how much of that is you having to provide that place that they can trust you? Like they, you know what I mean? So that they can, whatever it is, purge, release, whatever it is that they have, that they need somebody that's going to make them feel safe, that they can share something really that personal, and then be able to get feedback that's actually going to be productive. Sometimes you just need to be heard. Sometimes with that, you need some direction. So how important is that in your practices, both girls?
Do you want to answer that, Zoe, first?
Yeah, definitely having that loving presence and just being able to hold space is super important when you're coaching somebody. A lot of it, I mean, the style that I use, I like to let them come up with the answers themselves. So I'm there to guide them, but it's not necessarily me telling them this is what you need to do. You know, it's I'm guiding them along their journey and their process. But definitely what you say, you have to be a loving presence. You have to be able to hold space for that person. They need to feel safe in that environment. Definitely. Yeah.
My last session that I had today, I barely said anything and witnessing him discover himself, you know.
Yeah.
Now we have this client in my 4-month program, so there's a actual full-on, you know, plan with goals and everything set in place. But he's just creating his own reality inside of the space that I'm holding them, like what Zoe said, holding space for them to discover their true self. We can't implement what we are into them. but we can guide because we're connected in that way, and they're not connected yet. But once they're connected, bye, you don't need me anymore.
Exactly.
Go forth, multiply. I can be really soft, but I can also be like a ball buster when I need you. Like, you can feel people when they start sliding off their course, or they're getting lazy, or they're like chicken shit to do something when you already know, you told me that this is what you want, so this is how you're going to get it, right? And okay, you're calling him tomorrow. You're calling this guy tomorrow, right? So like I know when to drop the ball because it's for their greater good, because they've already told me. They already told me that's what they want.
Mm.
So if I'm aware of it, then I can know, and then I can feel. Sometimes it's the information's already come from them, and I'm just being accountable and reminding them, and then being and drop the ball when they need it. And then sometimes it's a full-on dance. Like, it's nothing. No session is ever the same. Like, one I might be leading because they're dragging us somewhere inside of something they said they want, but then it's sometimes, but because in my sessions they're on an actual program with real-world goals. But in the mix of it, there's also the inner guidance and practices that they're also taking on. So that it's both worlds, it's the masculine and feminine that I work with. So it just kind of depends. But yeah, holding space for them to discover their internal world for themselves is key. Yeah.
What's going on musically with you right now?
Musically, I haven't been able to record because I'm in quarantine, which is fine because I'm working with a lot of my clients, which I feel is
the universe is telling you not to record.
Yep, and I was talking to an angel friend of mine the other day, and I did the Angelic Summit with her, which was like an online thing, and she's an intuitive, and she's doing all mass healing over under the Vatican with all of her angel friends. they full on, like, they go deep. They're clearing the grid from underneath the whole Vatican. That's why
Well, they should forget about the under the Vatican. Get up there and get that gold roof off. Melt that sucker down. Feed the world, man. That's my theory.
Right. You got to move and shift the negative energy for that consciousness to even come in first into the.
I say let it out through the roof. Get rid of that gold roof. That's a big thing with me. Get rid of that's really obnoxious. Get rid of that gold. Melt that down. Feed people. Just feed people, man. You know, I mean, really. But hey, that's just.
Yeah, there's
I
also
saw Scott.
free will, so there's the balance of both. But yeah, I called her for a totally different reason. She's fully tech savvy, so I was calling her for some tech question that I had, and she starts just downloading and channeling while we're talking, because I was about to go to the studio. This was right before quarantine.
Yeah.
Prince comes through and starts
really?
having a conversation through her with me. Now, whenever I connect with my intuitive friends, he always comes in. I didn't ask for it. We're not even talking about you. he's just connected to so many people right now, and not just me. Just because I've worked with him, there's a lot of people that I know that he's downloading. But yeah, I asked him a question, like, he's my guy, and I'm like, all right, Prince, where's my production team for my album? And he's like, he pretty much gives me my own wisdom back to myself. He goes, it's not the time. I'm like, okay, got it. And then he's like, he goes, just keep listening to the joy and what feels right, and it will happen when it's meant to happen. I'm like, are you coaching me right now with my own with my own coaching that I coach people? So I loved it. And he did say, because my personal relationship with him when we work together, I was like, don't tell me what to do. Kind of thing. That was our dynamic inside of work stuff. But then when we hit the spiritual conversations, we were totally here the same. And then on comedy and spiritual conversations was where we aligned like 100%. You can feel it when you vibrate with people in certain areas. When it came to business and music and things like that, I'm just like you can't tell me, not in an ego way, but he wants to create for you. That's how a lot of it was inside of that dynamic. I'm like, I needed to discover myself in that area before I could even go there with him really. And I mean, he kind of co-wrote some songs and things, little bits here and there on our album, but not fully. Like it just wasn't. Your musical vibration wasn't mine, and now that I've started working on my music, that's not where how my music sounds in this moment. It could go there. I don't know what's coming because I don't know what the future holds, but it wasn't a natural flow for me. But when I was talking to my intuitive friend the other day, he said, if you ever need help musically, just call me.
What do you call him, on the landline? You talking about Prince?
We're all connected. You just got to call him in.
No, I guess so. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I get a little lost on.
That's all right. You can get lost on it.
Listen, I've come a long way. Just got a long way to go. But I do understand, in a sense. I don't think I'm open to that.
Not yet.
Today.
Not yet.
Not available to be able to. Well, if it ever happened, it'd be different. Things have happened to me that make me like I can no longer deny.
Yeah, you get the experience, and then your mind catches up, but you got to experience and to fully know it. What is it? Knowledge is.
Wait a minute, I'm getting a download right now. Wait a minute. You're going to play a song?
Yes, I actually am.
Oh my God, it tells me shut up. Telling me shut up.
Told you to shut up?
That's a constant download. I'm always getting that download. It's my fault.
Love it. So I'll finish this thought and then I'm going to jump straight to the music. Okay. So when he came through and he said, if you ever need me, call me. I'm like, all right. He goes, but I'm not going to come if you don't call me. And for me, I felt like he was honoring my space. Yeah. Rather than just coming in when he wants to, which is how I felt like it was. His energy would impose on myself because I wasn't strong in that at the time. So then when I was in the studio 2 weeks ago, or a couple of weeks ago, I was tracking some guitar, and I closed my eyes. I didn't feel like I needed him, but I was like, I'm just going to call him. So I was in the middle of recording and tracking, and I called him in, and I felt like wind, like on my face, and I'm like, did my producer just stand up? And I opened my eyes just because I thought he moved like this, and it was the wind of his body. He was still. He hadn't even moved, and I felt wind coming. I was like, oh, hi, Prince. Like I felt the energy, and then I spoke to another girlfriend of mine who she connects in more ways in that way than I do. Yeah. She goes, oh, I've never heard anyone explain it like that, because when she interacts with other beings or whatever, it feels like wind, like angel wings coming down, like the angels are coming, and you can feel the breeze of their wings. That's the meaning I put to it. But yeah, I could feel it. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, man.
Yep. All right.
So you're going to play something? What are you going to play? Maya has no idea what song she's going to play. The fingers hit
she's
the
going
string.
With the flow.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play Ascend, because I think it relates to the time we're in right now. Oh yeah. Listening to waves of vibration, feeling the world is in constant confusion. Laying on my bed thinking, what the hell Sometimes I just wanna cry out, feeling the pain of living in this illusion. I just wanna run naked and lay my body on the earth. Oh, I've come too far to give up now. On this road to the light, my love, take my hand, don't let go, 'cause together we will all ascend, my love, with each step on the ground, I will meet you on the other side of life. Of life. I know it's been all kind of crazy. It's hard to tell what is up and what is down. Gotta let you know that you're not doing it alone. We're shifting out of this old life. No matter how hard you gotta let it fly. 'Cause the light is where spirit's guiding us to go. Oh, we've come too far to give up now. On this road to the light, my love, take my hand, don't let go, 'cause together we will all ascend, my love, with each step on the ground, I will meet you on the other side of life. Lay down in the water, let your body purge now. Wash out all your troubles, feel your body cleanse now. Wash away all the pain, feel the new you. Sacred earth, she's giving birth to you. My love, take my hand, don't let go, 'cause together we will all ascend, my love, with each step on the ground, I will meet you on the other side.
Wow. Zoe, what do you think?
So beautiful. You're so talented, Maya. It's, yeah, goosebumps, tears, the works, like touches my soul. Thank you.
we get to share this with everybody. How cool is that? Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
That song.
That's amazing.
Relates to, you know, what's happening right now with the coronavirus and the earth being able to cleanse and purify, and people getting back to basics and human connection. And, you know.
Well, nobody can do something that beautiful with something like the stuff that's going on right now. What you just did to everything has just made it beautiful, gorgeous, magnificent, all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want another one, or how we going? All right, I'm going to do the one that I wrote, the latest one that I wrote.
All right.
What's this one called?
More breaking news.
If you go to follow the road, the unknown is of the road. If you take it down into the thickets of trees, you might find the world abundant with waterfalls. Under the sun, it's the purest of earth. Lay your body down, let the mother heal disease. Plunge your naked soul under the waterfall. Water, 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 waterfall. Water, 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 water,
You did it again.
Mhm.
How is that?
So beautiful. Yeah.
You guys. Love you guys.
Bravo. Thank you so much, Maya.
You're welcome.
You always are the extra light, the brighter light, always. You add light no matter what's going on.
I do my best.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, Maya. We've really loved having you here. It's been beautiful, and the music just blew me away. Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome. Thanks for having me. Love you guys.
Hopefully we can do this again soon.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
It's good.
Thank you so much. And thank you for everybody who tuned in tonight. And hopefully that you will subscribe to this channel so you can see this episode. And I don't know, the bar's just been set really high. We're going to have a lot of work to do to keep this pace going, but we're going to do our best. So please subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much, Maya.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, love you guys.
Namaste. Love you all.
Hey.
Namaste. Love you.